La-di-da-di-da, I wanna make another video. Hey everybody, so today I'm going to teach you how to change an Omnipod. If you don't know what an Omnipod is, it's a type of insulin pump and it's the one that I use. So let's get started. So the site change that I'm going to be doing today is from this arm to this arm. So I currently have it right here, and what I'm going to do is get another Omnipod, a new one, and put it right here in approximately the same spot. I might do it a little bit lower or higher than usual because I still have a mark from where I put it there last time. Other spots that I feel comfortable putting it on are my tummy and my sort of lower back / bum. Those are the better places for me. Tummy is the least uncomfortable, I think. That's just a personal decision. Back here I like because normally people don't notice it, and arms usually where people notice it the most, but I feel very comfortable with them there. And legs, you can put them on your legs too. I just choose not to because the 2 times I think that I put them on, it was really uncomfortable. And it's kind of complicated when it comes to wearing pants and things like that. But I've heard of people wearing them on their legs and they seem fine with it, so that's another option. But today we're going to be putting it right here. Just to give you guys sort of an idea of what it's like to have an insulin pump, I brought out some of the old things that I used to use before I had one. So here are some syringes, individually packaged. And if I didn't have my pump, I would still need to use these. And I know that they're very tiny, but they still scare me. So I'm so glad that I don't need to use these anymore. That is one way of injecting insulin. That's how I started off. I started off with injections like this. And then I moved on to the insulin pen, which looks like this. Just gonna give you guys a quick example. You basically attach the needle part to this and you tell it how much insulin you want and you inject it like that. So I went through both of these different methods before I decided I wanted the pump, and these are great ways to do it. These are perfectly fine. I just prefer the pump and I think it is so much easier. So in order to change an Omnipod, you're going to need 4 things. The first being your insulin. This one is called Humalog, and it's kind of funny because this is the first time I've ever used Humalog. I used to use Novolog, but since our insurance plan changed, they switched me to Humalog. And apparently they're interchangeable, so hopefully nothing bad is going to happen to me. The thing that you're going to need is your PDM. This is what controls the Omnipod, and this is what you'll need to deactivate your current one and tell it that you want to put another one on. Also, for safety precautions, you're going to need alcohol swabs to clean the skin off before you apply the Omnipod. So make sure you have either a swab or, a tissue or cotton ball or something to apply the alcohol with. And the number one thing you're going to need is your Omnipod. So these come in boxes of 10s, and I have 2 left in here. And I think they ship these from Boston. That's pretty cool. This is what the Omnipod looks like when it's still in its packaging. So this is what it looks like now. What I'm going to have to do is basically peel it off. It's kind of like ripping off a band-aid. It can be kind of painful, but you get used to it and you learn different techniques for how to get it off the fastest. Usually it's best to sort of dampen the adhesive around the pod so that it kind of dissolves it a little bit and makes it easier to pull off. You can use baby oil for this. I couldn't find any before I filmed this, so I'm just going to use lotion, and you can use pretty much any kind of lotion or even just water. So I'm going to do that right now. You just take a little bit and you start applying it around the edges. One thing that I found when it comes to taking an Omnipod off is if you can find the weak spot, once you pull on that weak spot, the rest of it comes off pretty easily. Alright, so I think I found the spot that'll get the rest of it off. So you just want to carefully pull at the edges because you don't want to pull any skin off, and it also hurts a lot when you do that. If you're squeamish, you might want to look away because that's the cannula that goes into your skin, and that part just came out. And there you have it. It's off. So I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. It isn't always a pretty sight once you take one off. Different things can happen. It can leave marks, redness, things like that. Sometimes you don't even notice. It just kind of depends on where you put it. The next thing you need to do is deactivate the pod, which actually most people do that while it's still on their body, but I do it either way just because it doesn't really matter much. So I just went ahead and took it off because I like to get that part over with. So you're gonna go into the More Actions section of your Omnipod or your PDM, and you're gonna tell it that you want to change your pod. And it says press confirm to begin the pod change process. This will deactivate your current pod. So you press confirm and it will beep to tell you it's deactivated. So it says now remove and discard the pod, which I've already done. And then press next. No active pod. Would you like to activate a pod now? You say yes, and it tells you to fill a new pod with insulin, listen for 2 beeps, and then press next. So we're gonna do that now. So because this is a new bottle of insulin, we're gonna have to open it, and you do that just by pulling on the top like that. Also, if you just have pulled one of these vials out of the fridge, sometimes the Omnipod can be a bit sensitive to temperature, so you might want to kind of warm the insulin in your hands a bit before you put it in the Omnipod. But this has been sitting out a bit, so it should be warm. Next, you're going to open this up, and inside you're going to pull out the syringe and the needle. You attach it just like this. Pull it off like that. Now, it's completely up to you how much insulin you want to put into your Omnipod, because everybody has different amounts that they're going to use over a 3-day period of time. So I usually put in about 125 units. So that's how much I'm going to do. So you're going to put in the amount of air that you need. And inject that in there. Something that's great about the Omnipod is that even though you'll get a lot of bubbles in your syringe, you don't have to worry about it too much, because once you do the next step, which I'm about to show you, it will prime the bubbles out for you. So it's still on this screen that says to fill it with insulin and wait for the 2 beeps, so we're going to do that now. With the new generation of Omnipods, they like it for you to have the Omnipod right next to the PDM. So it beeped. I'm going to press next, and it's going to start priming and getting all of those little bubbles out. So in preparation, I'm going to get this alcohol swab, and actually my pod just beeped to let me know that it's done priming, so I'm going to try to hurry. You just want to gently wipe the area that you're planning on putting it on. And be patient letting it dry. Don't blow on it or anything like that. I used to, when I had to do injections in the nurse's office at school, I'd be so impatient to get back to lunch with my friends that I would start waving at it, trying to dry it, and they would just tell me to be patient. So try to be patient. I personally hate having to wait for it to dry, but we're going to do that. So here is the Omnipod I'm about to put on. It tells you that you need to remove this part, and all you do for that is just pull and it comes off. And it says on here that if the cannula, which is the little plastic bit that's going to go under the skin, if that's already popping out, and if you can see it, then you need to get a new pod. So it's not there, so we're good to go. Next, you're going to get these little tabs, pull this one down, and pull this one up, and you've got a nice sticky surface to stick to your skin. So like I said, we're going to put it right here. I usually face it this way. You can face it this way, pretty much face it whatever way you want, but this is the way that I'm used to doing it. I've found that being a girl who shaves her armpits, that you want to make sure that you have a good space between the Omnipod and your armpit, so like when you're shaving, you're not knocking it with your razor or anything like that. So this distance away is usually good for me. Make sure you smooth down all the edges. Now you're going to press next on this. It says if the pod is wet or dirty or the adhesive is folded, then discard it. We're good to go. Press next. It says press start to insert the cannula and begin basal delivery. So I'm going to do that. I can never tell if it's really gonna hurt or not. It just usually feels like a pinch if it does hurt. So we'll see what happens. It's good to put your hand on it and have a firm hold. Okay, that was actually not bad. I didn't really feel that. It's still preparing. It asks you if the cannula is properly inserted, and usually I have someone do this for me to look in this little window where you can see it and make sure that it's in there. And if it is, you go ahead and press yes, and you're good to go. One last thing I wanted to bring up is the use of medical tape. I have never had to use this personally, but what the Omnipod is, I think, most loved for is the fact that you can use it when you're participating in sports and things like that. So if you're playing softball and a softball went flying past you and hit your Omnipod, supposedly it couldn't come off. It can become a little bit loose and the adhesive kind of starts to dissolve a bit from the water. So you can use tape and just tape it around. Of course, this makes it a little bit more complicated when you want to take it off. But just simple tape like this is really good to use, and I've seen other people, other YouTubers who've made Omnipod videos use stuff like this before, so that's another option. So yay, you guys successfully helped me change my Omnipod, and whether you're diabetic or not, I hope this just kind of gave you an idea of what it's like, and also post any comments if you have any questions or anything like that, and thanks again for watching. There's something in my hair.
Still filming.
Oh, there's something in my hair. Makeup shine. Don't film.